Thank you for your support and thank you for always listening to our show. We wanted to talk about the supposed deal between Rwanda and the US. Essentially, Rwanda agreeing to take some migrants, illegal migrants, criminals, undocumented migrants into their country. And then I think there are two other countries that have agreed in Africa. I think it's Sudan, South Sudan, and Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland. I just think that Trump twisted these people to accept this deal. I just hope that these people thought about it through and through, that they are not shortchanging their people. I might be wrong. I think they are, quite aware of the deal they're getting into. I just believe that they did not really have options. But I don't know why they keep saying that, all countries are, have technically the same strength in diplomacy. But essentially, it looks like Trump is just running through these world leaders, not just in Africa or even all around the world, across Europe. The only person he has not been able to run through is probably Putin, Vladimir Putin, and maybe the Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela. But every other world leader you can think of, he's just plowing through them and just getting his way. And for me, I just think that for some of these things, he would have needed more discussions and making sure that whatever deal they're striking is good for the two countries or for the countries involved. But the way he's just running through all of these world leaders, I think he's just setting precedents. Maybe he's teaching other world leaders how to behave when you have his kind of power. But we did not see Joe Biden exercise this kind of power. In fact, we did not even see him exercise this kind of power when he was the 45th. And a 44th president definitely did not exercise this kind. Well, he did. 44th did. He did a lot of damages in Africa. He's probably the reason why we have a lot of insecurity in West Africa. He essentially disorganized Libya, and the pandemic that we are seeing here, pandemic of confused people in America, he is probably the architect of it. But the way Trump is just running through the world leaders, running through the wars, imposing his wishes and caprices on the world leaders is just alarming. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree on the fact that Trump is bullying some African countries. I know there was a conversation about these in Nigeria, but I don't think Nigeria accepted any of those immigrants. But Rwanda, they're only looking to take 250. We don't know if the 250 will go up or will go down, but the representative from Rwanda is saying that they will still have the final approval on who comes into their country. So I think it's a good thing if they're able to control who comes in, if they're able to do a background check and know that they're not bringing in any criminals, they're not bringing in any child molester, any drug dealers. I don't know how the people in Rwanda will take this. I've never been to Rwanda, but I do know that Rwanda is a developing country. It's been um, challenged with wars in the past. Many of the people have been displaced and now they just started building back up. So I don't know. I don't think 250 migrants will hurt the economy as long as the people in Rwanda are getting the same opportunities that will be provided to the migrants that are being deported to the country. It'll be a good thing, but the people of Rwanda might not agree with the deal that their leaders have cut with the Trump administration, but the population is about 14 or 15 million people, so maybe it's an opportunity for them to grow their population. I don't think 250 people will significantly grow the country or have a positive or a negative impact on the economy, but it's yet to be seen. I know three countries have agreed to accept some immigrants into their country, and if three of the African countries have agreed to this deal, how many more countries are we going to see agree to the deal? I'm sure some countries uh, that are forming alliances with BRICS, Trump administration will try to pressure them, but they probably won't give in to the pressure from the Trump administration. because they have the backing of all the members of the BRICS. So it's yet to see what's going to come out of this. Immigration is a hot topic in America. Most people want immigrants to come in legally. They don't want them to come in illegally. They don't want them to cross the borders and bring crimes, bring violence. However, there are some subsect, or there's some people or some faction of the country that don't want any immigrants, whether you're from Africa, whether you're from Europe or Asia. They don't want you to come into America. And they're giving a lot of people blacks. I don't know if you saw the interview that Mehdi Hassan did with Jubilee that went viral maybe last week or about 2 weeks ago, where some of these young people were telling him to go back to his country. And he's an American. He was born in England. He has family ties to India, and he's also a business person. He's a popular person. He's a well-known figure in the media. But this young Caucasian were telling him to go back to his country, that they don't want him here. So they basically don't want any immigrants. Some factions, they don't want any immigrants in America. Maybe they're planning to Trump's ends, and maybe Trump, has the same idea. Maybe doesn't want any immigration, no immigrants in the country. I know they've tightened the border security. They've hired more CBP officers. They've hired more ICE agents to start deporting people. So I know immigration is very important. It's a hot topic in America. So maybe this will give them the opportunity to negotiate with the Trump administration better. Maybe they will have that leverage and say, hey, we're taking 250. We need this. Can you provide this? Can you help us out with this? Maybe it's a negotiation tactics, but we don't know.
Yeah, it looks like since this 47th president came into power, like I always say, I voted for him. I don't hesitate to say it, and I don't hesitate to call him out whenever he's misbehaving. But it looks like I've been learning a lot, from his, how he's been handling things. But it's unfortunate that most of us are immigrants. I would say, I don't have the statistics, but I would say almost 60% of people in this country are immigrants. At some point, even if they are not the first generation, you're probably third or fourth or fifth generation, but your root is, you are immigrant, by root. It's just unfortunate, if you get on X is a toxic place, the kind of speech, the kind of things people put out on that platform is just alarming. You probably have to have some armor to shield yourself from some of those speeches, some of those words, and it's just unfortunate. So I think as part of the deal, they said they signed that deal in Kigali in 2020, in June 2025. They are saying that the agreement allows the U.S. to propose individuals for resettlement, with Rwanda having the final say on each case after vetting approved migrants. The people that will be going to Rwanda will receive a workforce training. They will receive healthcare and accommodation to support them to integrate into Rwanda. I think as part of the deal, they are saying that the people that they send back to Rwanda, they can leave at anytime, probably to their country. They can just leave if they decide to. Well, it looks like they are reporting that the agreement can be extended beyond 250 migrants, so long both parties, Rwanda and the US, agree. In fact, I'm thinking that US can just run through them. They don't have to agree. They will just probably threaten them. But it looks like Rwanda is supposed to get some kind of funding, but the amount that is involved is not communicated. But I think even with all of this, I think this is still a bad deal. I think a lot of them, yeah, they will be able to leave and go back to their country, but a lot of them will settle permanently. And we already know that the people that Trump is removing from US are the bad guys. So he is not removing any well, quote unquote, he's not removing the good guys. He's removing the bad guys, people that have criminal record, people that have criminal background. Do you really honestly think that Rwanda or some of these countries in Africa has the technology to process these people, to track these people? Let's say people that are, child molesters, people that have done things to, young girls or young boys or women. Do you think some of these countries that they are deporting them to, whether it's Rwanda, whether it's South Sudan, whether it's Swahili or formerly Swaziland. Do you think they have the technology to keep track of these people wherever they go to ensure that they do not do damages in their community? I think there are just some things that you do not agree to. I mean, for the sake of your citizens, I think to protect your citizens and for the safety of your citizens, there are things that you do not just agree to. And I think one of the ways to do it is just not attending those meetings, because when you are in the presence of Trump, I have never been, but I would think that when you are in the presence of Trump, when you're in the White House, it looks like people get overwhelmed. We saw what they did to Zelensky, how it just looked like once you are in their presence or once you're in the White House, it's almost impossible to say no to whatever they ask you to do. But I think these African countries, I think they need to do better. I think they shouldn't be agreeing to everything. They just need to do better. And they need to be consulting with their people, ensure that this is what their people want. That you are the president does not mean that you have the final say in the country. There are stakeholders. You need to consult with these stakeholders, ensure that all of you are on the same page. Though we haven't seen any single person or any stakeholder complaining about this, move or this deal, but I think there will definitely be some dissenting voices with regards to this deal. And as things unfold, we'll probably get the opportunity to hear from them.
Yeah, definitely. There will definitely be some people that don't agree with that. Rwanda is just starting to build up their country. They've got some nice cities inside Rwanda, and some people would not agree with it. Some people will agree with it. Yeah, it's up to the people. It's up to their leaders to make good decisions that won't affect the lives of their citizens. And to support the statement you made earlier that a lot of people were immigrants in America, I think Barack Obama made a statement in 2013, basically saying that unless you're Native Americans, you probably came from someplace else. Native Americans, they constitute about 2 or 2.5% of the US population. It's safe to say about 95% or 97.5% of people in America are immigrants or they're descendant of immigrants. So it's important that, we all continue to live in peace and harmony. And also remember other countries out there that because you are in a functioning society or a functioning system doesn't mean you should continue to oppress those other countries out there. Those other countries that are still developing or that are underdeveloped. Because power can change hands, and we know that countries, monarchies, they've fallen in the past. So yeah, I think it's important that we continue to live together in peace and harmony. This deal will probably favor the Americans, but we'll see what happens. I believe the leaders know what they're doing. That's why they're accepting 250 migrants into their country, and I'm sure the U.S. will help them identify people that are coming into their country. I'm sure US will have that information. They can decide to share or not share it with Rwanda. If they share it, it's good. That way, the people of Rwanda can make a decision and decide who to accept and who to reject. We don't know how possible or how swift this process will be, but it's up to the leaders, and the leaders have decided, hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is the route we're gonna take. The people of Rwanda will have to speak up and let the leaders know, hey, we do not support these actions, or we support these actions and bring more. Maybe they were looking to accept 250. Maybe they will bring in 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 just to start with. But I think it's important that people continue to accept each other and continue to live in peace and harmony.
Yeah, this is why I always advocate for some of these Africans, to start making their own money, start utilizing their resources to make their own money. I think the only reason why Rwanda is accepting this deal is because of the financial grant involved. They want to raise money. But do you honestly think US will present this kind of proposal or this kind of deal to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, or UAE, or countries like Qatar or developed countries? They wouldn't do that. Do you think they would present this kind of deal to Italy? They wouldn't do that. So when these, countries in Africa consistently show that all their life they depend on the US to live their life. This is the kind of deals they will be getting. This is the kind of proposals they will be getting. One-sided deals. And I think whatever they think they're doing, I think they should make sure that they're consulting with the people, making sure that the people are in sync with whatever they are doing, and not just go to the White House and and be selling their people out. I think essentially that is what this is. It. They just sold their people out, and only time will tell. 250 people, yeah, that could easily snowball into 500, 1,000 people. Before you know it, yeah, you'll be fighting another civil war in Rwanda. But this is a lesson to most of these countries in Africa. Be productive, put your people to work, better your economy so that this kind of deals will not come your way. And thank you for watching, and thank you for hanging out with us, and we thank you for your support. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, follow, like, share, engage us in the comment section, and we'll be there waiting for you. Thank you.